says that I'm a nice person, it's an insult to me because it's usually a thing you say about someone when you have nothing better to say about them. Being nice is a meaningless quality because everything you do is performative. Just so you know, many people in the world are nice, including liars, sociopaths, and serial killers. But that doesn't mean that they're kind. A person who acts nice or does nice things for others may or may not be kind at heart, but a kind person always does things out of goodness of their heart towards everyone around them, even if they may not always seem nice. Listen up. Being kind is not the same as being nice. Here's the difference. Kindness is a personality trait that shows a consistent level of generosity and consideration for others. It often requires thoughtfulness and effort, while niceness is more about being polite and doing what is expected of you. It has a lot to do with manners and social etiquette. Just so you know, anyone can be nice, but not everyone can be kind. In fact, kindness has nothing to do with being nice. Very often, being kind to someone means you genuinely care about their well being as though it's your own, helping them out whenever they need it, even when it's inconvenient, or telling them things they may not want to hear but they really need to. However, being nice to someone means trying your best not to offend anyone because you want to get along with them. For instance, you may be doing things out of obligation or saying yes to people when you know deep down that you don't want to. I mean, there's nothing wrong with being nice and pleasant to be around. In fact, I don't think being nice is inherently a bad thing. Being nice is necessary in certain situations. But let's be honest, being the nice girl all the time can be selfish because people who are nice in general often have an end goal in mind, which to me is performative. For instance, you may be nice to your friends only because of the social pressure to fit in. Even though there is no malicious intent, there is often a hidden agenda behind. The truth is, the kindest people I've met were not very nice based on social standards because they are brutally honest and they'll call you out on your BS. However, they will genuinely help you when you need it without expecting anything in return. There's no underlying motivations other than simply being kind. Honestly, I truly appreciate kind people who aren't necessarily nice. They don't go above and beyond to impress anyone. They don't care who likes them. They only care if they like themselves. And that's a highly authentic person you want to surround yourself with. On the flip side, the most performative people I've met were overly nice to a fault. They are very much people pleasers and they're only nice to gain favor from you, sometimes feeling entitled to something in return. In most cases, they're reluctant to help you if it doesn't benefit them in any way, but they would still do it because they want to be perceived as a nice person. Let me say this again. Being nice to others doesn't make you a good person. It's superficial and often insincere. At some point in our lives, I'm sure most of us have given compliments out of necessity to someone who is more superior than us, be it at our jobs, social and corporate events, or dinner parties. Let's be real, it's not entirely genuine. We do it to impress them and get in their good books. Whereas being kind is more intentional. It implies that the person is considerate and compassionate to the extent of acting in your best interests, which in some circumstances may mean that they may challenge you or correct you. Very often, they're willing to speak the hard truths with respect, and they often show up in tangible ways, such as checking in on you when they know you're going through a hard time and offering support in the way you would like to be supported. There's more depth to being kind than being nice. Let's not forget that it takes so much more willpower to be kind in a world that constantly demonizes it. Here's what no one is telling you about. People who are not genuinely kind love to make a statement about how kind they are, and they will often guilt trip you into thinking that everything they have done for you are out of goodwill, when you have poured so much love into them as well. It was never a one-way street. But the only difference is that people who are genuinely kind don't talk about it like it's some sort of sacrifice. As you get to know them better, you realize that their kindness is never unconditional. It is built on the condition that you stay the same. For instance, if you're a people pleaser, they thrive on you not speaking up for yourself, constantly having to tiptoe around them. So when you finally master the courage to be upfront with your needs and express how their actions have hurt you, they refuse to take accountability or look inward to reflect on their behavior. Instead, they will push the blame onto you while insisting that you are the problem and you take their kindness for granted when it's clearly not the case. In certain situations, yes, misunderstandings do occur and some things may have gotten lost in translation, but if the relationship is built on the foundation of kindness, taking accountability on both sides and resolving the matter with empathy would be the ultimate goal. If anyone repeatedly crosses my boundaries and treats my kindness as weakness, I'll just pull away and not engage with them anymore. Honestly, some people are just committed to misunderstanding you. There's no point in holding a grudge or resentment toward those who hurt you because they'll soon realize what they have lost, but you have already moved on to better things in life. And here's something you should know: lack of empathy is often present in people with a kind facade. If you take a closer look at the way they handle conflicts or tension with others, you will see a discrepancy in core values, and you'll notice that their reactions often come from a place of self rather than the collective, which requires mutual respect and understanding. Most of the time, they are very hostile. They may start criticizing or accusing you of things when you're just talking to them in a cordial way. Everything is about how they feel, not how they make others feel. As someone who is hypersensitive to other people's mood, I've always been extremely mindful of my actions because I don't want to hurt anyone's feelings on purpose. Therefore, I notice things people don't usually see: the body language, the micro expressions, the non-verbal cues, the tone, the volume of their voice. For instance, I can sense disrespect from a stranger through their subtle body language without a single word involved. So if I genuinely care about you, I'll be the first to notice the slightest change in your mood. Over the years, I realized that being kind is far more important than being nice. If you are someone that just wants to win an argument at all costs, let me tell you that it always comes with a price. Very often, you are unable to empathize for the other person and neglect their feelings altogether. Not only is there a lack of basic empathy, it also shows that you are very self absorbed. However, a nice girl will often hide her emotions to avoid confrontation because of her profound desire to be liked and the need for external validation. I admit, I used to be the nice girl all the time. Growing up in a highly abusive environment, I always thought that maintaining peace was my life's mission until it wasn't. I realized that being nice is almost equivalent to letting people walk all over me, and that makes me a doormat. It doesn't earn respect from anyone. In most cases, it will only make others feel pity for you or worse, laugh at you for being a pushover. Being the nice girl never wins. You don't have to be the bigger person all the time. In some cases, making compromises is necessary, but it has to be reciprocal. And just so you know, kindness is a state of mind where you know in your heart you are living up to your values because it's the right thing to do. It's also about having humanity and compassion for yourself as well as others. I believe that everyone has a kind nature. No one is born evil, but people with a kind facade only focus on their own feelings and how every situation has to benefit them. So they often do things for you while expecting something in return. But here's the thing: they may not verbally tell you, but you can feel it in their energy, their actions, or their words. People who are truly kind from within often do things for others without expecting anything in return. If they get you flowers or a gift for a birthday, they do it wholeheartedly with no hidden agenda, and the thing is, they genuinely feel good when they make others happy. Basically, they don't do things intentionally to make you feel like you owe them a favor or make you feel like shit. They always think before they say or act on certain things. It's just not in their nature to cause hurt onto others. Even if their actions may have accidentally hurt someone, it was unintentional, and the first thing they do is to apologize immediately and try to make amends. However, they will not resort to gaslighting or any other form of manipulation to make you feel worse about yourself before they apologize. Pure kindness is never manipulated. That's when I'm starting to realize that after a certain age, things are no longer misunderstanding or mistakes anymore. It's just your character, and if we're not aligned, that's a problem. Honestly, if I don't see it in my friends or the people close to me, I'll naturally distance myself, as this is not the kind of person I want to surround myself with. Yes, I know it may come across as being rude to some people, but all I'm doing is being very protective of my energy and peace that I've built over the years. I can't let anyone or anything destroy my peace after everything I've done to heal myself. I also believe that no one can ever take your energy without your permission. Yes, you heard me. Permission granted is simply you giving access to people. It has to be mutual. If you don't like someone within the first few hours of meeting them, you can always leave and preserve your remaining energy for yourself. In fact, you must know that there's always an energetic exchange between you and whoever you come into contact with. You can absolutely drain yourself by doing things you don't want to do or putting up with things you don't want to put up with. Self betrayal is draining. I would rather adjust my life to your absence than adjust my boundaries to your disrespect. In order for people to appreciate your yes, they must first learn to respect your no. After all, I think the main problem is that people often confuse kindness with naivety. But true kindness requires strength. It takes courage to stay kind when life is harsh and people seem indifferent. Let's be real. In a world that constantly telling us to act tough, kindness today feels like low-key rebellion. As though it's saying, I could be bitter, but I choose to be better. Instead of seeing kindness as weakness, we see it as power. Perhaps kindness is a form of strength that we have not learned to appreciate yet. By the way, it's also an act of self love to give kindness to yourself, especially you, whoever's watching this right now. In our modern society that often values assertiveness, strength, and competition, it has forced many of us to prioritize success, efficiency, and self interest over compassion, grace, and kindness. Therefore, it comes as no surprise that most people see kindness as weakness rather than strength. Ultimately, speaking with grace and having compassion for myself have helped me tremendously in my self love journey. Making mistakes is a part of the human experience, and not beating myself up over it is one of the ways to show kindness to myself. Every little mistake we make has transformed us to evolve into our higher self. Trust me, if you have not had that experience, you would not have gained the clarity and wisdom you have now. Thank you for watching and click to subscribe if you enjoy my content. Bye!